Greetings, travelers. Welcome to Lorespire. Today, we talk about The Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall. And why are we talking about a game that released 28 years ago? Well, that's because it's frickin' awesome. And I mean awesome now, in 2024. Let me get you up to speed. Earlier this year, modders finished creating Daggerfall Unity, which is an enhanced copy of Daggerfall made inside the Unity engine. And of course, there are now a crapload of mods that you can install to customize the experience to your own tastes. The Server Supreme has created a mod list for Daggerfall Unity called Daggerfall. The mod list saves you all the trouble of needing to go through mods to make up your own list. It is awesome. You can always make up your own list if you want, of course, but the Daggerfall mod list changes things in an awesome way and just makes it easy for those of you who want to get to playing right away. Oh, and this is my first time playing Daggerfall, so I'm not just seeing this through rose-colored nostalgia glasses here, okay? This game is genuinely fun and interesting for new players in 2024. If you enjoy open-world RPGs or classic RPG systems or the Elder Scrolls, you really should give this game a try, especially since you can download it all for free. That's right, Daggerfall and the Daggerfall Unity version of it are free to download. Anyways, let's talk about the actual game for a bit. Character creation is great. You can pick your race and a class, or make up your own custom class. There are even questions you can answer that will help you pick a class if you want to go that route. You can pick from various character models, and there is a bit of RNG to help you determine your starting stats, but you can re-roll if you want, and you do get to distribute points where you'd like to make your character especially good at whatever you wish. If you're into min-maxing, I definitely suggest making a custom character, as that gives you full control to max the stats you want. One of the coolest parts of character creation is the advantages and disadvantages that the game will allow you to pick to customize your character. These are kind of like modern day traits that you might see in some games, which to my mind are not used nearly enough in RPGs, but that's another story. Anyways, if you want to make a thief who's afraid of the dead, sure, you can do that. Want a wizard who's powered by the daylight? Not a problem. Want to play a Khajiit who hates dwarfs so much that it can't even wear their armor? Do it. Personally, I was able to make a dark elf sorceress using these advantages and disadvantages that feels more evil than any character I ever started with in Oblivion or Skyrim. I love the character creation freedom that you have here. Now, moving on to dungeons. The starter dungeon is a bit difficult, especially while you are learning the controls, but just be sure to save frequently and rest when you need healing, and you'll be okay, you'll get the hang of it. Speaking of dungeons, they are a lot of fun. The enemy AI is usually pretty good inside of the dungeons. They can actually sometimes sneak up on you or corner you, and it's just fun learning the ins and outs of the dungeons. The hidden doors, the traps, the pitfalls, finding treasure. Dungeons in Daggerfall are just a boatload of fun. Now, they do have some quirks that might leave you a bit baffled at first, but once you figure out all the secrets and you make your way through the dungeon, it is extremely satisfying. The game world of Daggerfall is absolutely enormous, so you will want to fast travel just about anytime you go anywhere. And you can fast travel to places that you've never been, so that really helps. All of the areas shown here are provinces, and each one has probably 100 or more towns, dungeons, and other points of interest. Seriously, this game is huge. Towns come in a variety of sizes, from just a few buildings to dozens upon dozens of them. They will all have a ton of people, and the larger ones have a lot of shops, inns, temples, guilds, and quests. You can talk to NPCs about a huge variety of subjects. I'm talking all the different factions, points of interest around the town, particular people that you might be looking for a quest, and the list goes on. And the best way to find something that you're looking for in town tends to be asking an NPC for directions, because there are no waypoints in this game. There is a trick you can use to get things marked on your map in certain situations though, which really is a helpful time saver. You will often receive letters in towns that give you new quests or advance existing quests. You will also commonly come upon text events in town that allow you to buy items or purchase training for a cheap price. And you probably already know that there are banks in Daggerfall that will lend you gold, but if you didn't know that, now you do. You can get a quick boost at the start of the game by borrowing money to buy weapons, spells, a horse, a cart, or any number of other things that you might want or need, and I highly recommend getting the cart ASAP. It is a lifesaver. Then, once you have everything that you need, go do some dungeon diving, you'll make a ton of money, and you can pay off the loan. Now, Daggerfall has an absolute ton of factions that you can meet and ask about and interact with. It has your typical guilds from later Elder Scrolls games, like the Thieves Guild, the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild, and of course the Dark Brotherhood. And there are other familiar things within the game, such as the armors. You'll find Daedric princes, Daedric artifacts, stuff like that makes it feel very much like Elder Scrolls, even though it was created so long ago. Now, magic in Daggerfall, it is pretty great. There is a wide variety of spells, and spells like Rise and Levitate, which allow you to float or fly, make things very interesting, especially in dungeons. Adding a vertical depth by which you can move is awesome, and it forces you to think in ways that you normally wouldn't. You can also create your own spells in Daggerfall. Now, it is a bit pricey, and you do have to go through the Mages Guild for it, but it's a great option to have, and a lot of fun to mess around with to create your own powerful spells. And all that actually reminds me that there is climbing in Daggerfall. Yes, you can climb, so even if you're not a caster, you still have vertical options in your playthrough. You can climb through traps, you can climb up walls, you can get on top of buildings, stuff like that, which is pretty sweet. The controls for it can be a bit wonky at first, but it does get easier once you get used to it, especially if your character is built for it. Now, as far as the quest and story of the game go, so far they've been pretty straightforward, nothing overly amazing or groundbreaking. However, I have barely started the main quest, and there is already an army of ghosts ravaging certain areas on a nightly basis, and there are hints of me going to Oblivion. I think the main story is going to start picking up in our coming streams, and I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm ready to start digging into it because I think it's going to be good. For those of you who are Elder Scrolls fans, there's another reason to play Daggerfall Unity in 2024, and that is Dragon Breaks. They are the craziest lore in the Elder Scrolls, and they only exist because of the ending of Daggerfall. So come check that shit out for yourself and see what led to the Warp in the West and Dragon Breaks as a general concept. Anyways, this game is a ton of fun, it has a lot of history, and you can't beat it for the low price of free. There can be some frustrations and annoyances as you learn the game. If you do play Daggerfall Unity, be sure to come back here and let us know what you think in the comments. This has been Chris with Lorespire. Be well, my friends.